All right, let's dive right in. Today we're talking about something I think a lot of us have been through: how to stop obsessing over someone. You know that feeling when your brain just gets stuck on a person, playing thoughts about them over and over and over again? I mean, if you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is mentally exhausting. It's like you're caught in this invisible web and you just can't find your way out. But what if I told you there's a way to untangle it? A way to get your peace of mind back?
Okay, here's the absolute key to unlocking all of this. Ready? The truth is, your obsession feels like it's all about them, but it's almost never about them. It's really a giant mirror, reflecting back what's missing inside of you.
So before we can break free, we've got to understand what this web is even made of. Let's actually dig into the psychology of what's going on in our heads when we get stuck on someone like this.
You know, at its heart, an obsession isn't really about the real world at all. It's this process where we basically project all of our own hopes, our desires, onto someone else. We build this perfect, idealized version of them in our heads, a version that, let's be honest, probably doesn't even exist.
And this is where things get super interesting. Because it turns out, most of what we're obsessing over, yeah, we kind of made it up ourselves.
Just think about it for a second. You probably only know, 10% of who that person really is? Their bad habits, their weird quirks, their whole reality. The other 90%, that's a fantasy. A story you've cooked up to fill in all the blanks. You're not actually obsessed with them. You're obsessed with the character you wrote for them.
So what's inside that 90% fantasy? Well, it's all this powerful stuff. It's the validation you're hungry for. Maybe it's a version of yourself you felt like when you were with them, a version you miss. It's the what could be daydream. Basically, that person becomes this symbol, a quick fix for your own unmet needs. Okay, so the million-dollar question is, how do we actually pull apart the real person from all these feelings they stir up in us? Well, there's this amazing psychological exercise that does exactly that.
It's called the features versus feelings framework, and honestly, it's brilliantly simple. All you need is 2 pieces of paper. On the first sheet, you're going to list their features, their actual traits, what they do. On the second sheet, you'll list the feelings those features give you.
And right here, this is where the light bulb goes on. A feature might be, they really listen to me, right? But what's the feeling behind that? It's feeling understood, feeling valued. Or maybe a feature is, they have a great sense of humor. But the feeling you're really after is feeling more alive and confident. See that? The feature is just the car. The feeling is where you're trying to go.
Now for the best part, and this is so important. You're going to take that first list, the one with all their features, and you're just going to rip it up, seriously, into tiny little pieces. It's this powerful symbolic act of separating the person from the feelings.
And here's why this is so powerful. That person you're stuck on, they don't have a monopoly on these qualities. I mean, tons of people are funny, tons of people are kind. But that second list, the one with the feelings, that is your personal treasure map. It shows you exactly what you need to start giving yourself.
Okay, so we've got the why down. Now, let's get into the how. Let's talk about some real, practical strategies you can start using today to start dismantling this whole thing and get your freedom back.
First up, the emotional detox. Think of it like a cleanse, but for your mind and your emotions. The whole goal here is to just create some space and basically starve those obsessive thoughts of the attention they feed on. So, what does that actually look like? It means creating some real distance. Mute them on social media, or better yet, unfollow. Stop torturing yourself by rereading old messages, and really try, to stop bringing them up in every conversation. Each time you do this, you're cutting off the fuel to the fire. All right, strategy number 2 is called thought interruption. This is all about catching that obsessive thought the second it shows up and saying, nope, not today. It's about you being the driver of your mind again, not the passenger. And you can do this a few ways. Seriously, just saying stop out loud can be enough to jolt you out of it. Or try this one. Delay and label. When you get that urge to check up on them, just tell yourself, okay, I'll wait 10 minutes. Usually by the time 10 minutes pass, the urge is way weaker. Then, immediately find something else to do. Our third big strategy is what we call reality reframing. This is where we actively start to tear down that 90% fantasy we talked about. It's time to bring this godlike version of them crashing back down to earth. So how do you do that? First, get real and make a list of their flaws. Yeah, they have them, I promise. Then, try something called imagery rescripting.
It sounds fancy, but it's simple. Just picture them doing something, well, kind of gross or silly, like tripping over their own feet or singing terribly off-key. It really helps break that perfect image.
And all of this leads us to the final, and honestly, the most important piece of this whole puzzle. Because breaking free from an obsession isn't just about stopping something negative. It's about starting something incredibly positive, learning to give yourself everything you are looking for in them.
Remember that feelings list from our exercise? Now's the time to look at it and ask, how can I start giving these things to myself? This is where you take your power back. Maybe it's a self-care routine, or diving into a passion project, or just talking it out with a friend. The point is to realize that you are the source. So as we wrap this up, I really want you to think about this. That list of feelings you wrote down. Feeling seen, feeling confident, feeling loved. What's just one of those feelings you can start giving to yourself, starting like right now, today? What's one tiny thing you can do to cultivate that from within? Maybe it's just taking a moment to acknowledge something awesome you did. That's a start. Because at the end of the day, this whole painful obsession, it doesn't have to be your story's ending. It can actually be the beginning, the doorway to a much deeper, more incredible connection with yourself. And that, right there, is a journey worth taking.